camera up here. So, first of all, I just want to say that today is Labor Day. You know what I'm saying? And happy Labor Day. 9 years ago, on this day, I released an album called L.A.B.O.R. Language arts, language arts based on reality. I got a tripod, but I just flipped it to landscape. So yeah, I released this album, Language Arts Based on Reality, on Labor Day, um, Labor Day, and so I just wanted to basically share a couple thoughts on the process of me making that album. You know what I mean? And I was gonna do it on IG, and then I was like, wait, I should do it on Facebook, and then I was like, yo, I should go straight to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so a lot of people may not know this, but I did release an album on Labor Day in 2011. The acronym stands for Language Arts Based on Reality. So before I talk about that album, I have to talk about some other albums first to let you know my thought process behind the Labor album. Um, Technically, my first solo record is called Fetus, Project Fetus. That's an acronym for everybody that understands. Um, I released that record, I think, in 2001, 2002, actually. And then I was going to release another solo project called Project Sonogram in 2003. And I was going to release it independently. And so I reached out to a person that I know, a friend, a homie, Ethan. What up, though? He had worked for Fat Beats at the time. And I was like, yo, man, I got this record that I'm about to put out. And, it would be cool if Sonogram, if it would be cool if Fat Beats promoted a single, you know what I'm saying, to help me promote the album. I wanted to send him a 12 inch so they could put out the vinyl possibly. He was like, yo, send me the vinyl, send me the single. I had just finished mixing Sonogram, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm gonna send him the whole album, and they could pick whatever single they want to pick. You know what I mean? I'm not picky like that. Whatever they want to put out to help me promote this album, cool. So I sent him the whole record, and then he got back to me, and he basically was like, uh, "Yeah, man, we don't want to do the single." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." He's like, "Yeah, we want to do the whole album." And he told me they wanted to put out the whole album, and I was like, "Whoa," because this is not even like what I was thinking. You get what I'm saying? Uh, so make a long story short, Fat Beats. Shout out to Fat Beats. They ended up putting out the Sonogram album, uh, vinyl, CDs, and all of that. The year was 2003 when I was getting ready to release it. But, after talking to Fat Beats, and they were like, yo, we want to, put it out in the spring of 2004. I'm like, cool. It was like, yo, we think we should push it back to this summer. We think we should push it back to the fall of 2004. And I didn't have a problem with it at the time because I was kind of traveling, I was touring. I was headed to Saudi Arabia, so I wasn't even going to be in the country. So I was like, yo, that'd be cool because then I could go do my thing, and by the time I get back, they ready. Then they hit me up and was like, yo, we think we should put it out in the spring of, it wasn't even spring, it was like February 2005. Only reason I'm bringing this up is because this album is, there's songs on this album that was like already 3, 4 years old. I was getting ready to release this album in 2003, and the album actually came out in 2005, 2 years later. Okay, after the Sonogram album, Sounds of Nasheed Originate Good Rhymes and Music, I decided that I was going to put out a mixtape. I had all these songs that I had did with other groups and other artists, and I'm like, you know what? Some of these songs people might never hear them because like some of those artists wasn't even pushing those songs. They wasn't pushing the albums. These was like some of my favorite verses. You get what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? I'm about to take all of these songs, or at least my verses from the songs, and just put together a mixtape. So I went to my brother DJ Virus and was like, yo man, let's do this mixtape. Here go all these verses right here. Virus put together a mixtape, the Virus on man mixtape with all of these verses from these other songs. And then I got this idea like, you know what? We make beats. I make beats. My crew, Trackazoids, we make beats. Decompose, Zal. So I went to Zal and Decompose. I was like, yo man, let me get some beats. I'm gonna spit all of these verses over our beats. It's a mixtape anyway, right? People gonna say, hey, I already heard those verses. I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's a mixtape. You get what I'm saying? So 27 beats later, I go into the studio and basically just recorded this in a couple of hours. I just spit all of these verses over our beats. I think like the Musab joint, I kept I kept the original joint, make believe. Um, but for the most part, I spit. I either spit the verses over different beats or I put out the original versions of the songs, like Unparalleled, for example. Um, that's called Stillborn. That project is called Stillborn. And I called it Stillborn because I felt like these songs are not dead. These verses are not dead. They're still born. They're still alive. You know what I mean? And the acronym for that is something to interest low listeners beyond original recorded networks. Okay, so that's Project Stillborn mixtape. After that, you know, I'm gonna get into super deeper details, but I put out a project called Rebirth. Real MCs bring intelligent rhymes to hip hop. I basically called it Rebirth because this is the first time I'm really like working with producers outside of my crew. You get what I'm saying? And so I wanted to basically, I wouldn't even say I was experimenting. I was just I was recording a lot of music at the time, and I was like, yo, I want to slap these songs together and put them out. So I called it Rebirth. Real MCs bring intelligent rhymes to hip hop. And it was really me focusing on like the lyrical aspect, you know, like I did produce the record. I didn't make the beats. I did produce the record, arrange it, and everything. You know, this is the first time. I mean, I worked with like different producers, not just one producer. Like 4 or 5, 6, 7. Let me see. Eric G got a beat. 14KT. Vaughn got a couple beats. Vitamin D. Jake One. Memo. Who else? D.L. Jones. I think that's it. It's 7 producers on that album. And before this, the reason why I'm even bringing this up, because I was always, you know, I make beats, my crew make beats. I never even considered like working with other producers, you know what I mean? Plus, I was thinking like, ah, man, you know, sometimes people work with all these different producers and the albums don't sound cohesive. So I would never do that. I would never work with, you know, multiple producers, you know, because the albums don't be sounding cohesive. And then I started thinking to myself, look, you wouldn't do this. You know what I'm saying? If you work with different producers, you wouldn't make an album that don't sound cohesive. So then that was a challenge to me. You know what I mean? So I grabbed these tracks or whatever, and I put them together. Um, and I call it Real MCs Bring Intelligent Rhymes to Hip Hop. Like, ultimately, what I was saying is that it don't matter what beats I'm rapping on, acapella, beatbox, whatever. I'm gonna be spitting that Dylon fire. You get what I'm saying? That was Rebirth. And this is around the same time I moved to Egypt. This is 2007, you know. Uh, Rebirth, I was also making my exit with Fat Beats. You get what I'm saying? So this project was symbolic in a lot of ways, you know, because it was literally like a rebirth. Like, okay, I'm about to like rebirth, reinvent, like identify myself in a different kind of way here. Not just with the beats that I'm rapping on, but like I said, this is like the first year I moved to Cairo. This is 13 years ago. When I get to Cairo, you know, I basically tell my fam that I got to do something different, you know. And what I meant by that is, you know, I go on tour, come home. I go on tour, I come home. I go on tour, I come home. Like, you know, I was like, man, I want to do something different. I want to record this album different. So now I'm going to the studio. My family is in Cairo. I'm going back to Seattle. Well, I'm coming back to the States, but I'm spending my time in Seattle. The Rebirth album, I had tracks with Being One. Actually, I forgot about Being One had beats on the album too. I actually recorded the whole record with Being, even though I had different producers. Shout out to Being One. Being One is dope because he's the one who really got me thinking about rocking with other producers in the first place. You know what I mean? Because up until that point, I had no desire to do that. You know what I mean? But this dude kept basically reaching out like, yo, man, we should work together. Let's work. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, man, this dude's dope and he wants to work with me. Like, why not? You know what I'm saying? So after, you know, being mixed the Rebirth album, you know what I mean? Um, Engineered some of those. I recorded most of it in my crib. You know what I mean? I had built a studio in my basement at the time. Going back to the Rebirth album. When I did move to Cairo, I'm subleasing my crib. You know, I don't have. It's like I have a studio, I have gear, but it's like I didn't have a studio. I didn't have gear now. You know what I mean? I got to find a place to record. So after recording with Being One in Seattle, Eric G was from Seattle, Vitamin D was from Seattle, Jake One was from Seattle. Seattle had kind of become like a home to me. So when I would return to the States, I would go to Seattle and I set up shop there. And so now this is around 2007, 2008. This is the first time I decided to like record an album. Up until that point, I had put out Binary Star, Project Fetus, Sonogram, Stillborn, Rebirth, and even Waterworld 2. Uh, all of these albums were like me just slapping songs together. Like I had so much music, I'm like, this sounds good, that sounds cool, that sounds cool. I had never really sat down to like record an album. You know what I mean? Even with Binary Star, we just kind of slapped songs that we had just laying around. We slapped them together, and that's how the album came about. So now I'm in Seattle, and I was in this other group with another guy, and we have recorded a whole album together, and basically me and this dude kind of fell out, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing another record and putting it out with somebody that I don't gel with, and then I'm gonna spend the next 15 years explaining why we on tour together and why we ain't on the record together. So I'm cool on that. I did that album, but now I got all these verses from that album, right? So I'm like, yo, I could do a mixtape real quick. You know what I mean? I could put together like a mixtape and have this done probably in like a week. I'm thinking like how I recorded Stillborn. I recorded those 27 tracks in like a couple hours. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna take my verses from this album and basically find some new beats. So I hit up the homie Eric G when I was in Seattle, and this is before Eric G was like Eric G. You get what I'm saying? I didn't want to go to Jake One and be like, "Hey man, I need some beats for this mixtape idea that I have." You know what I mean? I didn't want to go to Vitamin D and being one. And Eric G was the young homie. I felt like, yo, Eric G, he's. I just felt comfortable that he would probably give me some heat. You know what I mean? Sometimes I would talk to Jake One. Shout out to Jake. I would be listening to Jake beats, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, Busta Rhymes got that one. Yo, De La Soul got that one." I'm like, you can't even compete with that. You get what I'm saying? Like he can't. I'm listening to beats, but I'm like, oh, MF Doom got that one. Oh, okay, De La Soul got that one. And I think at the time Eric G was working with people like Torre, Sky Zoo. You know what I'm saying? Uh, at least to my knowledge, right? So Eric G hit me with this beat CD. It's like I think it had like 30 beats on it. You know what I mean? And so I remember listening to the beat CD and being like, okay, I could spit this verse on that. Yep, I could spit this verse on there. I could spit this verse. I could spit that. And then I went back to Eric G and told him like, yo man, I like these 23 beats right here. Like, I got something for all of this. He's like, oh man, like do that shit, right? And so my original intention was to record a mixtape. You get what I'm saying? I was gonna spit these verses. Most of the tracks had just one verse on it, right? So I'm like, okay, I got this verse for this track, I got this verse for this track, I got this verse for this track, I got this verse for this track. And the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, this is an interlude right here. I'm like, nah, man, like, say a couple lines on there. You know what I mean? You don't gotta rap, just, you can't let the beat just be blank. You know what I mean? So I started rapping, being a black youth. I was skinny like the bamboo, so sweet I had a bad tooth. Chocolate and candy, cereal and Kool-Aid, colors and fast food, my black youth. MJ Thriller, beat it, bad dude. Jacket with the zippers and the dance tools, dance moves. White glove glittered on his hand too, being a black youth. Name brand shoes. All day I dream about some new pair of kicks, I'm in the rap too. Run DMC, Cool J was bad too. Remember Easy had a Jerry curl, Pac had juice, listen to Black Moon, Wu Tang, Cash Rules. Like it started turning into a flow, right? I was just planning on chanting like being a black youth. Skinny like the bamboo, whatever. Um, then I started listening, I'm like, yo man, don't be lazy, bruh. Add another verse to that track. Man, you should write another verse to that track. You get what I'm saying? So it went from being like a mixtape with like one verse on every track, you know what I mean? To like next thing you know, I started reaching out to people for features. Like, yo, I started hitting up people that was close to me, and people that I thought was just dope in general. And people started sending me their features, and I'm like, oh snap! Like, damn, I ain't gonna lie, it kind of surprised me because you know, up until Rebirth, I had never really rocked with producers outside of my crew. And then up until the next album, which was Baby, I had this is the album that I'm talking about. It's called Baby. Um, I had never really rocked with MCs outside of my crew. We had features on our album, but for the most part, all the features was like people in my crew. So for the first time, I have features. Like I had when I think of Baby, the album that I was recording, like overall, there's 23 features on this album. That's counting singers, that's counting DJs, Miles Bonny on the trumpet, that's counting everybody, right? And so I finished this album called Baby, Being a Black Youth. This was in 2008, 2009, right? And I started shopping this album, like, yo, for me it was like I don't I don't believe I need features on the album. You get what I'm saying? I don't feel like it wasn't even really like something that I even really cared for. I rhyme, I write, I paint canvases. I'm a painter, I'm a lyrical graffiti artist. You get what I'm saying? But I was like, you know what? I could see like people saying like, yeah, he just saying that. He's saying that because he couldn't get features. You get what I'm saying? Whatever, whatever. And it doesn't even really matter what people say at all. It was just me basically saying, you know what? I can play. I can shoot around in my backyard. I could play 21. I could play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 5-on-5. Like, let's do it. Let's do it, right? And so that was what that album was for me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like an album I was trying to like necessarily sell a bunch of copies of. It was just I started thinking like a fan. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, when I listen to Mobb Deep, man, I'm cool with Havoc and P just killing these tracks. But as a fan, hell yeah, I want to hear Nas on a track with Mobb Deep. You get what I'm saying? Hell yeah, I want to hear Raekwon and Ghost. Like, that's dope to me. You get what I'm saying? It's dope when I hear Q-Tip rapping with Mobb Deep. You get what I'm saying? It's like ear candy. You get what I'm saying? So that's what it was. I was like, all right, let's do the ear candy. Like, I would like to hear One Below and Royce on the track. I would like to hear One Below and Freeway on the track. I would like to hear One Below and Jean Grey on the track. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so on. So I finished this baby album. I shopped it, and I actually got, I got a P&D deal for this record. Back in 2008, 2009. Make a long story short, one of the homies who worked for this company, right before they dropped my album, he hit me up. He was like, "Hey man, I just got fired. The company is getting ready to basically dissolve, and they got to buy you out of your contract and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, make sure you handle your business tight, right?" So I remember I was on tour with my band at the time, DL7, and this company is actually in the San Francisco area, right? So I remember going to the company and basically setting up a meeting to like get a divorce, right? So sitting in this meeting with this company, they basically already had the contract ready. They was like, yeah, we gotta buy you out of your album, and you can, get the album back and do whatever you want to do with it and that kind of thing. And they made me an offer, and I was like, hmm. I called, shout out to Laura. I called Laura, who was my manager at the time, and I told her, like, yo, I'm in this office, I'm talking to these people, and they're talking like this. And she's like, yo, don't sign that. She's like, do this, do this, do this. And I'm like, yeah, Laura, but blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, but now she, like, she just gave me some really good advice. And I'm talking about all of this is happening, like on speakerphone. I'm sitting at the I'm sitting at the round table with my band members, a representative from this record company, and the lawyer, and my manager on the speakerphone. So I remember saying something to the effect of, okay, so I gotta find out why my battery's not charging. So I remember saying to the company, like, yeah, so I'm assuming if I ask for more money or whatever, it's probably gonna slow up the process, and it's gonna take a longer time for me to get paid and that kind of stuff, huh? They was like, yeah, you don't want to do that because it's gonna, you're just gonna, it's gonna be more deliberation and more, just more negotiation going back and forth. You're gonna have to get a lawyer. You're gonna have to wait to get paid and stuff like that. And you're an artist. You just want to, keep making art and stuff like that. They was basically telling me like what was in my best interest. And I remember saying something to the effect of, you know what, you absolutely right. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and just be trying to negotiate and go back and forth and ask for more money. I said my lawyer is gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna be in the studio making music and being an artist because that's what I do. In other words, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna labor. So that's where the concept of labor came from. While I was sitting here waiting to basically drop baby, or at this point just get legal custody of my baby so I could do whatever I wanted to do with it. Uh, I was like, I'm not just gonna wait. I'm not gonna be one of these artists that's waiting to hear back from the court. You know what I'm saying? To see like what the court is gonna say or whatever the case may be. I said I'm gonna keep working. I'm an artist, yo. I'm gonna keep recording. I'm gonna keep writing. So this is what happened um, in connection with the L.A.B.O.R album. Just making sure my battery don't die over here. So I go to work. So now I gotta shout out the homie D Will. Shout out to D Will, Conductor Williams from Kansas City. One time I was on the road, I was in Kansas City and I was at a show and yo, this dude's on stage and I'm talking about the production was fire. Like this dude was making beats. I mean, he was rapping over his own beats, you know what I mean? This dude D Will, and I was blown away. You get what I'm saying? So I remember getting his contact information and I was like, "Yeah, man, send me some beats." I wouldn't consider myself a person who was out looking for beats. You get what I'm saying? Like I make beats every day. My crew make beats. So I don't go around like I need beats. But anyways, this dude was in Kansas City. He had some fire production. And to be honest with you, I hit him up and he sent me an email, right? And initially when he sent me an email, I cracked open the email and I'm listening to the beats and I'm like, nah, man, like that's not what I heard on stage. I heard fire. I heard some flames on stage, and this dude is. I felt like he was like just sending me some throwaway shit. So here's a message to producers out there, right? I get it. I'm a nobody. I don't have a crazy budget. I wasn't hitting them up talking about paying for beats or whatever. So I don't expect him to send me whatever. But I'm the kind of person if I don't believe you're giving 110%, I'm not giving 110%. And I don't make music like that. I'm either going 110% or not at all. You feel what I'm saying? So if I think that a person, like for example with Eric G, I felt like Eric G gave me some heat, so I didn't fuck around. I came with the heat because I felt like he came with his A game. I'm coming with my A game. This is how I do everything. This is how I do food. This is how I do relationships. This is how I play basketball. I want to play on a team where everybody's going hard, where everybody's balling, not where everybody's just, fucking around. If I twist my ankle balling, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with getting injuries and whatever, if everybody's playing hard. What I don't want to do is be playing on the court with people that's fucking around, they not really serious, and then I twist my ankle. Now it's like, like, I'm twisting my ankle, I'm getting injuries, and people ain't even serious. I apply the same thing to music. So this dude, D Will, one of my favorite people in the world, this dude sent me an email. I'm like, ah, man, I can't even take you serious because I feel like you're not even hitting me with the quality shit. This dude sent me another email. I probably don't even open it. He sent me another batch of beats. I didn't open it. He sent me another batch of beats. Like this probably happened like once a month at least, maybe even for a whole year. Um, he was just sending me emails, and I didn't even really respond to him. You get what I'm saying? Um, So at some point, this dude sent me an email. maybe like the 10th or 15th email or something like that, and I crack open these beats and I hear down, I'm like, whoa, this shit is crazy. I ended up recording a song called Beef to this, right? Now that's some bullshit. A lot of rappers talk a lot of beef, got gats with full clips, bars about as big as those Rocky Mountain oysters. You ain't saying nothing, just making a lot of noises. You ain't tougher than leather, you got to keep stepping. In videos, look at the rumps on these heifers. Young tenderloins got a skin they hide. For the meal ticket exhibit can pimp they ride. What the USDA say? Grade A prime, that's a prime time slot just to say they shine. But at 30 seconds of fame you can't resist. But 7 days in your colon and you still ain't shit. So that was the first verse for Beef. I'm like, I want to make a song about beef, but I don't want it to sound, I don't want it to be on some like super nerdy shit. I don't want it to sound like I'm just repping Peter up in this joint. So I'm thinking about rap beef. I'm thinking about beef in the world. I'm thinking about countries beefing with each other. I'm thinking about people eating beef. I'm thinking it's way too many lives at stake. Yes, sir, no sirloins, the soldiers say. He's supposed to be the macho man. See you holding on to some beef jerky, knock it out your hand. Cooking in the foreign land, watch the beef stew. The women and the children on the ground, that's beef too. Both sides claim God, missing the focus. Cause one say halal, the other say kosher. They both hate pigs, love Abraham and Moses. Now we see commandments broken. Cause Moses talked to God on the mountain. When he came back down, the people started worshiping cash cows. Today we got the USDA trying to leave their mark. It's all politics. Slaughterhouses chop those parts. Now any grade less than the US select still serve you that beef. But did you know it was processed? I'm just taking all these beef words: beef, steak, sirloin, heifer, anything I could think of that has anything to do with cows. You know what I'm saying? America consume more beef than any country on the earth, even the toddlers are obese. A quarter-pound burger you could pick on the menu. Some people don't like it, forbidden the Hindus. And vegetarians won't be beefing against you. The same category pork, chicken, and fish too. Get all their protein from soy, rice, and beans. These vegans on another level. Rebel to ice cream. It might sound crazy, but the flow don't stop. Hippies say they don't need roast to smoke no pot. Now the USDA say recall that beef because the COW was MAD. But the farmers keep filling them up. We keep killing for what? Meat grilling, the beef keeps sizzling. Mike was a bull, now we got King James. So people don't like Kobe, but he still got game. Who want beef? So this is the first song that I wrote or recorded over a D-Will track, right? I'm like, yo, man, this track is fire. Send me some more heat, dog. Send me more heat, D Will. And then I caught myself. I'm like, wait, this dude sent me like 10 emails already. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, let me go back to the emails and see what he sent me. And I started going back to those emails and I'm like, oh shit, that's dope. 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 So, like I said, a message to producers out there and artists in general. I wasn't hating on D Will. I was, man, my mind was, I was working on other projects. I was doing other things. You get what I'm saying? And my mind was just different in a different place. But when I did connect, and when that one track, I finally opened up the email it caught me. I was like, yo, I had to go back and listen. So I hit up D Will. I'm like, yo, man, what's up with that track? And what's up with that track? He was like, that's you. I sent it to you. That's all you right there. I was like, word. Man, all of these beats have just been marinating in my email the whole time, right? So I'm like, yo, I'm about to write this, I'm about to write that. Now, let me back up to when I had this deal with this label for Baby. something happened, right? The homie hit me up who worked for them. He was like, yo, okay, we got the album, but yo, you should send me another track that's not on the album that maybe we could promote and put out there to promote the album. You know what I'm saying? Something that's not on the album. So I remember telling him, yo, I got this track that I did with this kid from Michigan. His name was Mike Posner, right? Um, which is a whole another story. Um, Mike Posner, he gave me like a bunch of tracks. This dude, I met this dude when I had just got back from Egypt. I went to my studio. I went next door. My cousin Ro Spit was like, "Yo, man, this dude want to meet you." And I meet this dude, and he's like, "Yo, I'm a big fan. Like, I don't know who this kid is. Like, young white dude. I don't even know what colors he was wearing. Orange pants, green shirt, yellow hat. I don't know." His name was Mike Posner. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm a big fan." He's like, "I'm a student at Duke." I'm like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Man, I want to play you some beats, man. I want to play you my beats." Or this is before Mike Posner was Mike Posner. He was still a student or whatever. He's like, "Yo, I want to play you some beats or whatever." And I was like, "Cool, man." I mean, I literally just came from the airport. He's like, "Oh, I don't have the beats on me. I don't. I gotta burn a CD or something." Or he had the beats in his car or something. I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be next door." So I go next door. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, this kid knocks on my door. Knock, 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 knock. I'm like, "Oh, what's up, man?" He's like, "Yo, here's the beat CD right here." I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head like, "All right, cool, man. Thanks. Peace." He's like, "Play it now." I'm like, "Okay." He comes in. I put the first joint on. Thump, thump. When the cheap lights come on and the darkness sets in, watch your back, cause we might catch you. Cause we know your name, your crew, and your ways. Watch what you say when the street lights come on. I'm like, "Yo, who made this beat?" He's like, "I made the beat." He's singing on the hook. He made the beat. I'm like, "Yo, this is fire." Now, why am I bringing this up? I don't know nothing about this kid. I don't know who he is. All I know is this dude came in. He wanted to play me a beat CD. I'm listening to it, and it's fire. So I had already wrote this verse to a song that I had already to a beat that I made actually, right? But I'm listening to the beat. It's all aggressive. I'm listening to what he's saying when the street lights come on and the darkness sets in. Watch your back, we might catch you. Cause we know your name, your crew, and your ways. Watch what you say when the street light comes on. So I'm thinking, and uniforms blue, they storm through with lightning speed. The sirens scream inside the streets. Heads turn, wheels burn in pursuit of a thief. Another bite out of crime, more food to the beast. Similar to what a carnivore do to the beef. Keep the belly all swelly, tell it true to the feast. Sprinkle salt in the game, take it bitter or sweet. They the reason why you niggas ain't feeling the heat. Block hot, you might see them walking a beat. Pop, pop. They chalk bodies under the sheet. Lock up the precinct, that's what we all think. But the judge don't throw away keys or toss sinks. They ain't cleaning the streets, they making them stink. Hands dirty in the pig pen, shit where they eat. No justice or peace with corrupt police. Crime pays, you just won't get a receipt. Right? So I'm like, yo, that was the first verse. Second verse. Okay, this what we about to do. Take you on another mission with the boys in blue. There's a few out there that serve and protect, but the pigs on the other hand get no respect. Like here they come in a police car, abuse the P to the O-W-E-R. Pull over the runners that make drug connects, won't put them under arrest. They come to collect. Ching, crimes progress. It's all about green. They can run up on the scene, but they not here to help. She got pulled over for not wearing a belt, but the ticket ain't written if she not wearing a belt. Get it? Watch what you say, kid. Undercovers tape it. That's what we call a pig in a blanket. No matter what the rank is, getting that bank. Do I tax money pay that? Yep. Right? That's verse 2. Verse 3. Okay. Let's explore. Pigs never sweat through pores what they want to sweat you for. Why the black brown youth feel less secure? Pat them down, hands up, feet spread the floor. Poverty leads to crime. They arrest the poor. Some people can't afford a lawyer when they step in court. When the suspect is caught, you can rest assured they use no less, of course, than excessive force, and it's next to norm. Get beat like you stole, leave your cheeks all swole like a lesbian's horn. What if cameras in L.A. never press record? Do you think Ronnie King would be dressed in court in a lawsuit? Bless the Lord. Ain't like we ain't never seen him out of line step before. Black boot with the hill out, spill out coffee when they pill out, then fill out the next report. So at the time, I was also studying or just reviewing like supreme numbers um, and the supreme alphabet, right? And so I wanted to call this song C Cipher Power, basically COP. I was gonna call the song C Cipher Power, but I saved it as Pigs. And it's in my iTunes. It's something that I recorded. It's on my hard drive. It's in my Pro Tool files or whatever. I recorded it at the crib. The song ain't even mixed. I recorded my verse over the 2 track. I saved it as Pigs. So fast forward again, when I'm talking to the homie, he's asking me to give him a track to promote the album. I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna let you hear this song. I recorded it with this dude, Mike Posner. It's not mixed yet. It's not finished. I just want you to hear it. Just listen to it. This guy's like, ah, yeah, the track is dope. Yo, a couple days later, I got homies hitting me up like, yo, man, I thought you was gonna mix that song. I thought you was gonna like shoot a video for it. I thought you was gonna do this. I'm like, yeah. They like, yo, it's out. I'm like, it's out. I go to the internet. It's on blogs. Everybody's talking about this record. Oh man, one below this new track, Pigs. I'm like, yo, Pigs. The name of the song is not even called Pigs. I'm like, no. Okay, so why am I bringing that up? So now I got this song that's released called Pigs. They're telling me, well, it's a dope song. Like everybody's feeling it. I'm like, I mean, that's cool, but like, man, it's not even mixed. It's not like this is not like my idea right here. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to release this song as Pigs. So because this song got released and the name of it was Pigs, now I got this other song called Beef. I'm thinking, I'm about to put out an album and name all the songs after animals. Because most of these animals are beasts of burden. These animals go out and they labor. People say get busy like a bee. They talk about busy little ants. We talk about ox and cows and pigs and sheep and goats. That's what I'm going to do, right? So this is how labor started coming into being, right? I started thinking about like, yo, so when you think about the track listing, the first song is not named after any animals. The first song is called Laborhood. And Laborhood for me is just basically I'm just talking about the network or the neighborhood of laborers, right? So um in celebration of Labor Day, I know I'm already 43 minutes into this live. This might be my favorite album because of how it came about, because of all the people that's involved. This is the first time I made an album with singers, musicians, DJs, poets, rappers. I don't have any rappers on here, but like and like it's not just the fact that I recorded with these people; it's how I recorded, because I'm also practicing. I'm out here practicing, like recording, like I got a studio in my basement. I know how to record on Pro Tools, but now I have an inbox, and now I'm on the road. Like Omari is a poet on this album. Omari, I recorded his verses in a hotel room when we were in Chicago. Jessica Caramore, she's a poet on this album. I literally went to her house, set up shop in the living room, and recorded her verse there. You get what I'm saying? DJ Abilities, uh, my homie DJ Abilities, he did all the cuts on the album. He's a turntablist. I went to his house in Milwaukee, you know, plugged into his turntables, set up Pro Tools and everything, and he laid all the scratches. I stayed out there for like a week. Shout out to Max, DJ Abilities, and so that's how I collected all of the verses or the hooks or the features or the scratches for this album. I literally went to Portland and recorded with Tony Hill for the Antimatter. So it truly is a labor of love. It truly is. This album is like it's not just the title of the album. Labor is also an acronym for language arts based on reality. Um, Language arts based on reality. So I'm talking about beef. I'm talking about pigs. I'm talking about the antimatter, but I'm talking about I also flip these words. So the first track is called Laborhood. Track two is called Ant in parentheses I matter. I call it ants in parentheses. I could have called it the ant. I could have called it antimatter, but I call it ant. I matters in parentheses because I'm basically saying even if you're an ant, even if you're a little person, even if you contribute a small thing, you still matter. You get what I'm saying? Um, Antimatter. The next track is called Monkey Biz. Uh, Shout out to Unjust on that track. I'll get into that later. Um, Let me look at the track listing because I just wrote it down. All right. So you got Monkey Biz, Oxymoron is another track. Machine Labor, Snake Charmer, Dragon Slayer, Doggy Style Biscuits, Gamecock Diesel, Mega Chili Pluto, Tiger Stripes, Sheep's Clothing, Pigs, Beef, Rabbit Food, Roots, Jenny, Tales from the Hood Rats, Destiny of the Phoenix, Goat, and Wildebeest. Now, like I said, I named all of these songs after animals, or just basically after things that make me think of labor. That's why you have titles like Machine Labor, right? Mega Chili Pluto is so I was researching these bees, right? And I found out that there's a bee. I mean, there's a bee like literally it's like maybe like this big. Like the wingspan on this bee is like I think it said 5 inches or 3 inches or something like that. This bee is huge, right? And the guy who discovered it, I can't even remember his name at the moment. I can't recall his name or even what island he was on when he discovered this large bee, but he called it Mega Chili Pluto. So the this track is about it's not about bees, but it's like it's inspired by bees. Honey's on me, where I'm at is where they wanna be. You know, maybe you could fly. Maybe you could be my queen. Come fly with me. I keep buzzing in the streets. You know. Um, so let me go back. Right. I also want to point out Jenny. There's a track on here called Jenny, and a lot of people know that a jackass is a male donkey. A Jenny is a female donkey. So the name of the song is called Jenny, but it's about a Jenny is a female donkey, but like I'm not insulting the person in this song. I'm basically talking about how like some people are stubborn. You get what I'm saying? People say you're stubborn as a mule, right? So Jenny is it's just about stubborn shit. You know what I mean? But it's kind of tragic though, right? Um, and then Tales from the Hood Rats. I spelled Tales Tails. So I'm talking about tails, but I'm also talking about the tail of a rat. But when I say tales of the hood rats, RATS is an acronym for remembering a true story. So this is a pretty sad story about a friend of mine who passed away. You get what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So I covered D Will. D Will did most of the production on this album. Um, Shout out to my brother Jeremy, Fat Boy Chef. Jeremy was like, "Lo, you should mix the album here in Pontiac at the studio." Like, he's like, "I got all the computers here. Like, you know how to use Pro Tools. I got Pro Tools. You can mix the album here." I'm like, hmm, yeah, think I'll do that. I'll mix the album here. Then Jeremy tells me, he's like, "Yo, man, my boy Shuby just graduated from Full Sail. You should let Shuby mix the album." And I'm not gonna lie, y'all. In my head, I'm thinking like, "Look, man, I'm not letting your little goofy white boyfriends put their hands on my album, and I'm not letting your guy, your high school homie, mix my album." I'm like, wait a minute. He graduated from Full Sail. That's a thought. And I'm saying all of this to say like sometimes you gotta be open to ideas that are not your own, right? Now I'm recording. It's already recorded, but now I'm about to mix this album in Pontiac, downtown Pontiac, and this dude Shuby, shout out to Shuby, man. That's my brother, man. He mixed the shit out of this album. Now around the same time, I met this dude named Derek or the Tyrant. And it's funny the way that I met him. Uh, I had booked a show. So basically, I'm in Pontiac, Michigan once upon a time, and I'm getting ready to go to Seattle and perform out there. And some guy, his name is Paul, Snap Tight, shout out to Snap Tight. This guy hits me up and he's like, "Hey man, we want to book you for a show in Pontiac." And I'm already thinking in my head, like, man, like, I don't even know if this is gonna be tight. I don't even know if this cat knows what he's doing. So I basically tell him something like this. I said, "Look, man, if you want to do a show in Pontiac, I'm like, I'm charging $800. You got to pay me half up front, and then I'm down. But I'm leaving to go out of town tomorrow. If you can't pay me half up front, I'm not doing it." He's like, "Cool." This guy comes over, hits me with the deposit. I'm like, "All right, cool, okay, yeah, let's do this shit, right?" So he pays me the half the deposit, um, and then I fly out to Seattle. I book my flights and everything, and then I notice 3 days before I'm supposed to fly back to Pontiac or whatever, I'm like, wait a minute, okay, I can't remember what day the show was on. Well, let's just say the show was on the 10th. My flight is on the 10th, but I noticed that, oh snap, wait a minute, my flight leaves on the 10th, but it arrives on the 11th. Like maybe my flight leaves at 11 p.m. on the 10th and it arrives like, I don't know, 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning on the 11th. I was thinking that my flight leaves at like 11 in the morning and gets there 5 p.m. So I'm like, yo, let me change my flight. Let me change my flight. And I noticed like, okay, I booked a flight with Spirit Airlines. So Spirit Airlines clearly only flies once a day from Seattle to Detroit or whatever. So now, not only can I can't even book my flight for like an earlier hour. I have to book it for like an earlier day. So I hit up the promoter. I hit up this dude and I said, "Hey, yo, man, I have a problem." I hit him like 3, 4 days in advance. I said, "Yo, I got a problem, man, because the show's coming up." I said, and I'm noticing that I booked my flight. I gotta basically change my flight. I gotta make adjustments or whatever like that. So if you could just change my flight, we could call it even. Because when I get to Pontiac, he owes me another 400. You know, like the remaining balance of the deposit, right? He's like, "Oh man, just see what you can do." I'm like, "Just see what I can do. I just told you what I can do. Like, man, if you don't change the flight, I'm not even gonna be there." He's like, "Oh man, just see what you can do. See how you can make it work, right?" So I told this dude I can't change the flight. If he doesn't change the flight, I'm not even gonna be there. Make a long story short, the next day, the next day, this is the first time I missed the show. Just completely missed the show. Now, what I thought was kind of whack, people are calling me like, "Hey man, your mom is here." Like this is a show in Pontiac. My name is on the bill, and I don't even show up. Now 3 days in advance I'm not coming. Why is there no sign saying like One Below is not gonna be here or whatever? Like literally, my mom is there, my sister is there, hit me up like, "Yo, where you at?" And I'm like, "Yo, this is some bullshit. This dude knew I wasn't coming. I'm thinking he's still throwing a show anyway. Whatever, whatever, whatever." Make a long story short, I'm like, "All right, man, I missed the show. I'm back in Pontiac right now. Let's reschedule." And he's like, "No, I don't want to reschedule. Just give me the $400 back." Now this dude wants the deposit that he gave me. We didn't sign a contract like a non-refundable deposit or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, like, now instead of this dude owing me $400, now I owe him $400. I'm like, all right, cool. You don't want to do this show. You don't want to throw shows no more. All right, cool. Now I owe this guy $400. And it was like close to Christmas time. So I ended up, I'm like, it's close to Christmas time. I don't have the $400, but I got $200. So I paid him. I said, "Yo, man, come get this $200, and then I'll pay you the rest later." I paid him $200, and he made a statement like, "Don't worry about the other 200. Just do a song with me." And I'm thinking to myself, man, fuck that. I'm not fucking doing this. I'm not spitting a verse for $200. I'm not doing that shit. And I thought, I'm like, you know what? This is what I do, man. I make music. I could pay this dude $200, or I could spit a verse. All right, cool. Let's do a song. He's like, "Yeah, meet me over at my cousin's house. Like go meet my cousin." I'm like, "Who's your cousin?" He's like, "My cousin is Derek. He records in the garage." I'm like, "Where's the garage?" He tells me where it's at. I'm like, "When is he gonna be there?" I don't even really want to do this shit, but I'm like, "When is he gonna be there?" He's like, he's there all the time. I'm like, "Come on, man. When is he gonna be there?" He's like, "Trust me, he's there." Now I'm always in the lab. So when people be like, "I'm always in the lab," I'll be like, "Okay, let's do it now." They be like, "Oh, well, I ain't there yet." So I'm like, so anyways, I go over here and I meet this dude, and I'm like, "Yo, man, what's going on here?" Like, it was just a weird environment, I thought at the time. And when I feel like I'm in a place that I'm not supposed to be, like this shit is really strange, that's when my destiny kicks in, and I'm thinking like, no, I'm here for a reason. Like, I'm supposed to be here. Like, let me pay attention, right? So I met this dude named Derek, aka the Tyrant. This is around the same time I'm in Pontiac mixing L.A.B.O.R. So what would happen is I would go to the studio during the daytime, and me and Shuby would be in the studio till like maybe like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then I would call Derek and be like, "Yo, man, what's good?" He's like, "I just got to the studio. I'll come pick you up." So now I'm leaving the studio to go to the studio. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm like 24 hours, right? So I would leave the studio from being in the studio all day with Shuby mixing, working on L.A.B.O.R. And then I would go to the studio with Derek, and like I'm over here like listening to more beats. I'm over here, and this is when I started like recording more songs. Those songs turned out to they came out on an album called Kick Push. I'm not gonna get into that right now. I'm just telling you how I met Derek. And the reason why I'm telling you that I met Derek is because I would be telling him like, "Yeah, man, I'm mixing this album over here, right?" And he's listening to the album. I'm playing my shit. He's playing his shit. We recorded new shit. I got another homie that I met through Derek. His name is Dave. This dude plays guitar. They already making beats. They already got a crew. Whatever, whatever. I'm just coming over here because I'm bored. It's the middle of the night and I don't want to go to sleep. I just want to make music. So one day Derek says to me, "Hey man, you should let me and Dave like play instruments on those beats." And I'm thinking to myself, "Nah, man, I'm not. This is what I'm thinking to myself. Like, man, go make your own beats, man. Why you wanna play? Why you wanna play instruments on D-Will beats, man? Like, nah, man, that's not a good idea. And I said, wait a minute. I'm mixing this. I'm mixing this album in a whole nother studio. They can't fuck it up. I'm like, worst come to worst. They play some whack shit. I don't like it. I don't use it. I'm not giving them the sessions. I'm just giving them like the MP3s, and they want to play. They want to play instruments on top of that shit. Fuck it. Let me see what it sounds like. I give them the tracks, and I think I went on tour. And I'm on tour, and I'm looking, I'm looking at social media, and I'm hearing some of the homies from the studio like, "Oh man, they're killing these beats, like they're talking all this shit out, it's all dope or whatever, whatever." And so I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So Derek, this is when I first met Derek. Shout out to Derek. Um, he started sending me tracks in the mail, like my email, and I'm on the road, and I'm listening to these tracks. I recorded my verses over these D-Will beats, and they're playing instruments on top of them, like, and I'm listening to this shit in the car. I'm listening to it in my earbuds. The shit sounding horrible. You get what I'm saying? It's sounding like songs on top of songs. I'm like, yo, I can't believe you would even fucking play me like that. Like, why would you even send me this shit? This shit sounds horrible. And then I had to think to myself, like, Lo, you make music, you know how it is. I'm like, they're making music in that garage. You can't really make a fair assessment of this music until you go back to the garage and you listen to it in that room. So now I don't even want to listen to these tracks. I don't even want to listen to these mixes on the road. I'm just gonna wait till I get back to Pontiac. So when I get back to Pontiac, I go to the garage and I say, "Yo, let me hear this shit in this room, right?" And this shit sounded fucking incredible. A lot of people don't understand, like, when you're in a room, that room has acoustics. It has a sound that no other room has, right? So if you don't know this, you'll be like, "What the fuck was they thinking when they mixed that record?" Well, if you go to the room, you can get a better idea of what they were thinking when they mixed that record. You get what I'm saying? When I went back to the studio and I listened to the music in that room, I was like, "Yo, I'm like, yo, mute the guitar right there." Yo, like, so now here's what was dope about it. When you listen to Labor and you hear like those poems at the end of songs, like you hear the whole entire song, but then you hear like the song kind of like turn into like crazy harps or guitar solos or whatever, whatever. That's what that ended up turning into. You get what I'm saying? So it's pretty genius, like the way Dave and Derek complimented that album. So now I'm bringing this up because I'm not one of those. I'm the kind of producer like, don't fucking touch my beats. So how do I hit up D Will and say, yeah, man, I played instruments on your beats? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a good look, yo. I'm like, damn, this is like, man, this shit sounds dope to me, but I'm assuming it's possible D Will won't like it. So when you listen to Labor, like the tracks, every track kind of starts off the original way that D Will sent me the beat, and then the music kind of progresses throughout the song. You get what I'm saying? So keep in mind, I'm also touring with my band DL7 at this time. I got this band. It's me. It's these six ladies. We call ourselves 007. Emily on the bass. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Aisha on the drums. Shout out to Lahedi. She was DJing and playing flute. Sarah was on the guitar. Um, and Kiko was on the vocals. Um, and keys. Make a long story short, this was the band, right? Angie was on the keys. It slipped my mind for a second. Emily Rogers, one of the baddest bass players that I know. I mean, she would come in, plug in her bass, and play like, I would be like, doo 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 doo. I mean, she would play this shit by ear, and she would drop these bass riffs in one take. Like she didn't want to punch. You get what I'm saying? So Emily's adding live bass to the album. Dave is adding live guitar to the album. Derek is adding keys to the Labor album. And I'm over here like, man, dog, like D Will, like, I'm not trying to change what B told me. I'm just trying to like make great music. You get what I'm saying? So another member of the band, Kiko, she's the vocalist. Shout out to Kiko, my sister Kiko. Assalamu alaikum. She comes to my house one day and she says, she's at my studio. This is the studio, like, in my basement now. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna come over here and I'll just sing hooks. And if you like them, keep them. If you don't like them, don't even use them. And at first, I'm like, I don't want to waste her time because if I don't, I usually make music like with a certain intent. You get what I'm saying? But she's saying she basically came in and just was singing whatever she thought made sense on that track. Made for love, made for love, like whatever. And I was like, tight. I kept all of that shit. Kiko, you murdered that whole album. She murdered it. She killed it. Every track that she's on. So here's a funny thing. I got ready to bounce down one of the tracks. It's a song called Snake Charmer, right? Snake Charmer. So many struggles to get here. I packed a lot of gear. Mama said I got some mountains to climb. My stepfather showed me how to work, so I gave it a shot. Every day the clock started at 9. Ended at 5, that's not enough. I started walking with cane like people do when they opticals blind. And reading braille lines to hustle and rob landed jail time. Finally, you ask God for a sign. Parole freestyle plus the option to rhyme. I do it for the love plus the wallet to shine. For blue collars alike. Anybody getting dollars with crime for college minds. Hip hop is alive. But nowadays the real shit is harder to find. And if you spit in real shit, it's hard to get signed. Cause the game is full of Decepticons. I even had to transform, but I did it like I'm Optimus Prime. I must have been ahead of the clock in my time jotting these lines, cause years later still you gotta rewind. Now record labels come with the contracts to lock me in a bind, nigga, please. Is you out of your mind? Right? That's the first verse on Snake Charmer. Then I say, so many snakes in this game trying to gain your trust. So many haters make it seem like it ain't no love. Is it the egg in the skillet or my brain on drugs? Got me addicted to this music till my grade go much. You can feel it when you hear it in the way low bust. They ain't living what they spit and they just make flows up. But if your beats ain't loud or you got a weak style, you could try to move the crowd, but it ain't gonna budge. Never will go pop, but I will blow up. On the internet, they saying that I changed, so what? All my real fam know me and you ain't low judge. If your boy can't change, man, he can't grow up. Time to get that raid, gotta spray those bugs, gotta make those moves, time to lace those dunks. Trying to see new things, gotta make those bucks. Money on the table, record labels bank on us, and they charge us the interest. God's intervention. This talent got me looking like a star from a distance. They argue and defend this to grab they slice. I should arse in the building, but that ain't right. Okay, Snake Charmers. I'm bringing this track up because I record this track. I record Kiko's vocals. I record Emily on the bass. And then when I go to bounce this track, I bounce the track, but the track was muted. The only thing you could hear was the bass, Kiko, and me. And the shit sounded funky. It was a mistake, but it was like boom, 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 boom. She's like, made for love. I'm like, so many snakes in this game trying to gain your trust. So make a long story short, I'm like, yo, I like this. I'm like, I don't know if D Will is gonna like these instruments, but it's possible that if he don't, I might just mute the tracks and like just go with the acoustics. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is I had the track fade in after the first verse. You get what I'm saying? for Snake Charmer. I'm saying all of this, y'all, to basically say, like, in celebration of labor, I just want y'all to understand, like, this is one of my favorite albums, and it's all the stories behind it. It's all the labor that that went into it, the hard work, the traveling, the recording in hotel rooms, the being open to trying new ideas, working with engineers that just graduated from, engineering school, you know, uh, and it's truly a labor of love. You get what I'm saying? Um, Another highlight on the album for me is Destiny of the Phoenix. Um, I call it the Phoenix because it's about the rebirth. You get what I'm saying? And it's about the destiny, right? So the name of the song is called Destiny. Now, for those that know me from Binary Star, we have a song called the KGB, and in that song, I have a verse. I say, "Hey yo, a whack of see is something I could never be. That's like growing dreadlocks. Why you taking chemotherapy? Theoretically, pen and paper is the recipe. Alphabetically, I'm coming after you like the letter V. If you ever stepped to me, the worst is yet to come. You'll never get the best of me. Call it like a referee. Call it destiny. Check the melody. Break the law of gravity and lyrically catch a felony. All the way to the end." But anyways, I say call it destiny. And I'm like, you know what? It's my destiny to rhyme. That's my destiny. And even though I already did it, I already rhymed these words with destiny. A whack of see is something I can never be. Felony, destiny. I said I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna, cause it's my destiny to rhyme. Not only like I just took it as a challenge. Not only is it a challenge for me to rhyme destiny, it's a challenge for me to rhyme with destiny again, right? And this is probably one of the realest songs I ever wrote, me personally, coming from myself, like acknowledging that, right? This song is called Destiny. Here's the lyrics. In the beginning it was darkness, let it be light. 11-7, heaven sent him, let him breathe life. I was bred to lead, second thing, blessed to squeeze mics. If hip hop is wrong, I can never be right. See, music is my therapy. Sick of all these whack MCs selling me that celery, talking all that sex to me. Treasury and cheddar cheese, gelling me with felonies. Weaponry they never squeeze, ejected me, let debris. I'm not the hater, you a player, I'm the referee. Official with the whistle, check out the melody. You could be the best MC from west to east and never be celebrity. Maybe when you rest in peace, let's agree. You don't want war, you should run and be a refugee. Whether coming or going, I'm running where the rebels be. Ain't nobody touching me, I guess they think it's leprosy. It'd probably be the death of me, body and soul separately. Destiny. When they arrested me, let's say I was 1 plus 17, never dreamed. Tell me how you can when you never sleep. Far from Freddie Elm Street, gotta stay alert behind that metal screen. Criminals and killers with that expertise, puffin' evergreen, hustle work, every means, seal searching everything. Hold D's and cough, the pipes that connect the sink. Gang members laced up, ready to eat. Predators praying for peace. We studied the language that the Arabs speak. Nasheed Abdul Rahim, you got beef, we can squash it like a jelly bean. My aim to gain to afford better things. Maybe the fame, chain, poor set of keys. Brains mentally in chains, gotta set them free. Nobody can rescue me, especially from myself and me. So I wrestle me and question me excessively. Better clean that mirror that reflected me. Serious expression be, how could this be my destiny? They say experience the best to teach. Gotta keep a shield and a sword, that's necessity. The Lord must be testing me. Best believe enemies and friends standing next to me. Many are the first, so we know how the second be. Less than, lot of yes men saying yes to me. Mama always said, boy, you gotta check their recipe. Listen what they telling me, how much they respected me. Jealousy and treachery was buried in their chest beneath. And now that he said, she said, that was never me. I get it from the main source like extra P. Cause if it's just a rumor, I remove it from the memory. Prove to be a true enough that Prove to be a truth and let us see who got the remedy. Never let them devils see that hell in me is better. We should never speak. Let them leave. Regret it, please. They only bringing out the best in me. And top pedigrees got hella fleas, dog. It's called destiny. So the thing that's so crazy about this track is, I got this track. I got the beat from my brother DJ 12's out in Oakland. The beat I think is amazing, right? My sister Maymuna Yusuf, aka Mumu Fresh, she was coming into town in Michigan, and I said, "Yo, I got this track. I would love for you to be on. You know what I mean?" I sent her the track while she was in Baltimore. She wrote a hook to this track and she basically sang it to me over the phone. It's my destiny. No one can take it from me. With every breath and I was like, whoa, she blew me away on the phone. Like, there's no way I can hear this song without this chorus. I can't. Like, it's when you hear it, you like, that's it, right? Maymuna Yusuf, Mumu Fresh. So, at the time I was living in Inkster, 10 minutes from the airport, right? So she's supposed to basically land, come to my house, record the verse, and then go do her thing. I think she had a show that day. Why the fuck was I was like an hour late or some shit, yo. I was like hella late. And she's at the crib just kicking it, chilling, like, oh, it's all good. You know what I mean? I know she was tired from the flight or whatever, whatever. It was not a good look, but I can't remember what my excuse was, but I was late. So when I get there, she kills it. She's in the booth, killing it in my basement, whatever, whatever. And she's like, um, I'll do it again later. You know what I mean? I don't even know if she was like super happy with how she did it. I thought it was tight actually, but I knew she wasn't feeling it as 100% or whatever, but I didn't want to delete the vocals just yet. When I went out to Milwaukee to work with DJ Abilities and he laid the scratches on it, I'm talking about he just went scratch. He went super scratch crazy on this shit, and I was like, man, it was just all over the place. Super technical, right? I didn't really get it at first. So when I went back to Oakland and I sat down with DJ 12 because it was his beat. I was like, yeah, man, I got this chorus. I don't know if she's really feeling it, but I still want to mix it to get her feedback to see if she actually liked it. And I actually got some scratches from DJ Abilities, man, but I don't even know if I really want to use them because this is just all over the place. But DJ 12 is also a DJ who respects DJ Abilities. So I gave him all the files. Remember, I'm going around collecting this shit with my inbox. I give him the rhymes, the beat, the vocals, the scratches. And when you listen to Destiny, the way he panned the scratches, it's amazing, yo. Like DJ 12's. And I wanted him to mix that track because it was his track. You get what I'm saying? Shout out to DJ 12. Shout out to Big, D Will. He did the majority of the production. Um, it's funny because there's a guy named Unjust. He lived in Oakland as well. So every time I would go to Oakland, I would drop a song with DJ 12's. I would drop a song with Unjust. Where those albums at? Coming soon. Anyways, I'm over Justin's crib, and you know we had did a song called Monkey Biz. Who you roll with, who you gonna leave with, like, and so this is me doing like word patterns. Roll with, who you came with, Who you gonna be with? Who you rolling with? Who you gonna leave with? Came with, be with, roll with, leave with. Came with, be with, roll with, leave with. Came with, be with, roll with, leave with. That's kind of what I was on. Who you came with? Who you gonna be with? Who you rolling with? Who you gonna leave with? I originally wrote this to a Black Milk track, right? Who you came with? Who you gonna be with? Who you rolling with? Who you gonna leave with? Who you came with? Who you gonna be with? Who you rolling with? Who you gonna leave with? If you heard this before, I came in the door, feet floor, Luke's. I came in the 4 feet floor, Luke, with Luke Skywalker with the Force B4. Anybody can roll with their keys. I can make sure you leave with a favorite 16. Got a starving artist, gotta eat. I came with the massive monkeys on that dance to be with a boy mentality to smash it, confident. You would think I roll with the arrogance. See you looking right or leave a battle with embarrassment. It was basically like patterns where I'm just basically saying came with, be with, roll with, leave with, like throughout the course of the song. You know what I'm saying? If you can with a dude, don't be a ITCH with an attitude, rolling with your nose in the air, and me acting rude. Everybody mad at you. You could leave go. Ego is better than bruise because some niggas act fool. That kind of thing, right? So I recorded that Monkey Biz, Monkey Bars, Monkey Biz over Justin's beat. And then I was sitting over there and I was thinking about beef. I got a song called Beef. I use all these beef words, right? And I'm like, yo, everybody don't eat beef. I'm like, you know what? These cats, they don't want no beef. Y'all want vegetables. Like, it was kind of like a joke, but I was like, yo, I just wrote a song called Beef with all beef words. Now I'm about to write a song called I'm about to write a song with all vegetables, right? And I remember they had a barbecue at the crib that day. We was in Oakland. I was at their house. Shout out to OPO. Shout out to everybody in the mansion. Um, they was over there barbecuing and eating beef and shit. How ironic. And I was in the corner writing this vegetable. I remember this is I was in the corner for probably about 10 hours just writing about vegetables, right? And I wanted, one below style. I wanted to do this in a way where it was like cool. It wasn't just like me talking about artichokes and like, whatever. So here's what I came up with. Let us begin. The veggie table of contents. I give you a part snippet when the DJ the spinach. I put the songs on wax, they want a couple pairs. Search the barrel for bad apples, but none is there. Now I plant seeds and bury the bone in different area codes on blackberries, Macintosh or Windows. Easy appeal like bananas. The man with the plantain, keeping it organic over these golden beats. I am so sweet. A different grain, I'm known to rice on the beach. You could say I'm a fun guy, party in a plush room. You looking blue in your small world, mushrooms. It ain't hard to tell a smurf from a gargamel. Father Sun Tzu, strategy behind my artist sell. Protect your nectarine. Cause all these crabs in the bucket just want to see your record sales plummet. Right? That's verse 1. I'm thinking like, okay, they don't want no beef. I'm like, do I got another one? Do I got another one in me? I'm like, crime pays, but you're not a felon. Honeydew gel waiting for dispatch like a watermelon. I'm in the limelight, not because my art is selling. Rhymes automatic, lemon squeeze like a Mac 11. Now who's that? Pecan through my window. Pow. Nobody, now that's tomato. You might say tomato. I'm 24 karat underground. Just imagine if my sound made a mango. They say it's for the love and the passion fruit. That's when I say get these nuts. We got checks to cashews. I got an academia in macadamia. Never like a pimp artichoke slapping ladies up. I metaphor pickles in a jar. Or I might blaze grapes in the face, still raising the bar. And you granola MCs can't handle those. I see cabbage folk, you see antelope. Green machine like Mikel Kevin. I'm chilly chill, red is familiar. My name ring a bell pepper. Stalking your ears, you might turn corn. Same rappers turn pop when the heat turn on. When the flame turn orange, time to do that shit. If it's still hard to believe, I prune that shit. Pomegranate, don't panic. I'm the cherry on top of the ice cream. I squash beef. Thank you very much. Peace. Pomegranate, don't panic. I'm the cherry on top of the ice cream. My squash beef. Thank you very much. Peace. So I just wanted to make a song about vegetables and fruit. The name of that song is called Rabbit Food. There's actually videos for rabbit food and the antimatter. I also have another song called Wildebeest. This song is significant on the album is because around this time I got into a rollover car accident, and yeah, it was pretty scary, yo. Um, I don't want to get in too much detail. I'll just say, like, I had a show that night. I was dropping off all the members in my band and all over Detroit, wherever they lived or whatever. And I had a homie that was visiting me from Los Angeles. He was actually a young Muslim brother, Hasib. Shout out to Hasib. Um, he was in the passenger sleeping. He was in the passenger seat and he was actually sleeping. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my way to the crib. I'm probably like maybe 5 minutes from my house. I just exited the freeway and I was rolling through this intersection and I looked to my left and this car is plowing through the intersection and like it's nothing I could do. It's like it's like it's about to happen. And so I kind of I kind of like I can still feel it in my shoulder. I braced myself for the impact. And when the car hit us, I mean, we started like rolling. I mean, this dude, imagine the dude in the passenger seat, he woke up like upside down. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? I can't even imagine. And yeah, we're just rolling. I don't know what's gonna happen. But here's what I do know. I do know that literally my whole entire life flashed before my eyes. Like when they say your life flashes before your eyes, I don't know what other people means, but I'm talking about being born. I'm talking about elementary school. I'm talking about trips to Tennessee. I'm talking about high school, basketball games, my children being born, concerts, Binary Star. I'm talking about Hodge, reading books, eating food, cooking. I'm talking about sex. I'm talking about all of these things. Literally my whole entire life flashed before my eyes in like 3 seconds. I'm thinking stuff like, did I teach my kids? Like, yo, like, oh man, it's over. Like I don't know what's happening, but literally my life flashed before my eyes. It was a really profound thing that happened, in that moment. But the car stopped rolling. We were on our sides. I remember like reaching up to like unbuckle him, and he literally like fell in my lap. You know what I mean? It was like one of them kind of situations, right? And that's a whole nother scenario. But like getting to this song Wildebeest, I basically wanted to write a will. Um, like I'm a conceptual artist, so I was thinking like I gotta write a will. I gotta write a bunch of wills. You know what I'm saying? Originally I wrote it to a D Will beat, but I ended up spitting this verse over MTK. He did a track, and he had this track, and the sample is "Life is a Will." I'm like, oh snap, that's it right there. Life is a will. So I was like, I gotta write a will. I gotta write a bunch of wills. That's why I call it Wildebeest, right? They told me to keep my eyes on the road and my hands on the will I am. But will I am not willing to trade spots. But if it's Lord's will, come as you will. Let them devils know I got a force field and swords to wield. One day it will make sense. Somebody leaving Prince in Bel-Air, and I ain't talking Will Smith. I'm writing this like a will with 6 meals. Whether I make millions, I gotta make 6 meals. So will I William Shakespeare? Yes, I will. When you're gone, will or will not. They stuck with your nickname Bills. Head spinning like a pinwheel, a windmill. If you can make it stop, tell me when. Will, the checks come when you get fired or laid off and you ain't even got your rims paid off. I'm on the road again like Willie Nelson till the wheels fall off. I'm a Fud City will make the heat go off. And you ain't Willie trying to see no loss popping off like a Willie. You will get your ego tossed. I still got it. You used to be fly, but you Will Rogers. My heart brave and my Will Wallace. Like Christopher, gotta give me the loop. Got plenty rhymes to shoot. John Wilkes in the booth. Leave your widow. We been like a willow for many days. I will amaze, say hey kids like Willie Mays. Without a bar team, without a will, still away. Heads Bobby gets slayed, I got a dog team. D will give props throughout the verse. From KC to Williamsburg, touring the earth. We conquer your turf, low killing the verse like William the First. Let's buy a vow, will of fortune, flipping these words. I stand tall for all, I will and deal fair. Nobody got your back, you need a wheelchair with big wheels. I handle bars like a wheelbarrow on construction sites carrying big steels. Got a strong foundation, so I build towers. They say I couldn't, I reinvented the willpower. They say I couldn't, I reinvented the willpower. Life is a will. Shout out to MTK on the beat. Shout out to KD for contributing vocals to the album. Shout out to Tony Hill, Miss Tony Hill, for singing on the Antimatter. Shout out to DJ Lahedi, who also spit some poetry. She spit poetry on this song called Roots. Um, Shout out to Omari, who spit poems on a couple songs. Shout out to Jessica Caramore, who murdered that Tiger Stripes. You get what I'm saying? Uh, my son Naeem, who was probably like 6 years old at the time, he wrote a little like rhyme, and so I had him get in the booth and spit a rhyme on here. He's like, "Once upon a time, I'm spinning a rhyme. I'm trying to fight the crime, but Optimus Prime, the Autobots and he's like the Autobots and Megatron fighting for the dime or something like that." And it's just funny, man. It was like his first time in the booth, only time in the booth, really. But yeah, man, this track, I interviewed people. I have snippets of interviews. Shout out to Antero Ali, who allowed me to interview him and put some snippets on this album. Uh, I got snippets of my daughter Aya, like drawing. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, you'll see. She's like, look, Daddy, I drew something. It's an A, and I got my kids on this album. I got elders on this album. I have musicians on this album. I have poets, singers, turntablists, producers. There's a lot of labor that went into this record. You get what I'm saying? Um, Shout out to Blue Raspberry, Blue Raspberry, Wu-Tang Clan Blue Raspberry. She murdered this track. I got this track from Vitamin D. It's called The GOAT on the album. We hear a lot of rappers bragging in their rhymes got who. I said we hear a lot of rappers bragging in their rhymes about who got the crimes and who got the shine, and who got dollar bills signs. You not the greatest of all time. So, anyways, this song is called The GOAT, right? And I'm basically okay with The GOAT. I wanted to write a song. I wanted to write a verse about Allah that wasn't dogmatic. I wanted to write a song about Allah, and it was the challenge for me was like not to even make it like a religious song at all, but just really just um, spit what I would consider to be undeniable facts, right? So in the GOAT, you not basically I'm saying you're not the greatest of all time. Allah's the greatest of all time, right? So the first verse, I said, we see you don't get the credit deserved. It's impossible to measure your work. We can't repay you because we can never measure your worth. I decide not to describe. You can never be measured in words. Some say Big Bang, theoretical church. Say you created and rested on the seventh absurd. Every day, new life cycles, death and the birth, set in reverse, seeds settled in dirt, egg and the sperm. Make way for the organs, with or without sexual urge, skeleton bones, the flesh is the turf. I'm below, you the one above, second second and third. Atheist, agnostic, intelligent search. 12 years of college professional specialist learn, but your knowledge and degree is a level unheard. We admire engineers, architectural nerds, but they can never build heavens and earth. I read about docs praise for their medicine works. You put the same nutrition in the fruits and the vegetables first. We honor veterans and let them pin medals on shirts. Genocide in your name, they oppression is worse. Everybody show shock from the weapons that burst. Where the real terrorists lurk, color red is alert. Brothers dead in the hearse, mother's head is berserk. She says she asked you for protection and you let them get hurt. But the ones you love the most get tested the worst. That's why some people worship your prophet. The message is blurred. I got a whole lot of questions, plus the devil at work. Should I vote for the donkey or the elephant jerk? Should she cash a paycheck or tote a tech in a purse? We go to work. You help us to earn. Some of it use to fund wars. We protest with our words. Blessing and curse, the verse, a lesson to learn. Let it be heard. The GOAT. So when I write verses like this, I try to multitask and do a couple different things. First of all, clearly, I like to rhyme. So it's important for me to rhyme. And I don't just mean like serve, curve. I mean like, we see you don't get the credit deserve. Credit deserve. It's impossible to measure your work. We can't repay you because we can never measure your worth. I decide not to describe. You can never be measured in words. Some say Big Bang, theoretical church. Say you created and rested on the seventh absurd. Every day, new life cycles, death in the birth, set in reverse, seeds settled in dirt, egg in the sperm, make way for the organs. With or without sexual urge, skeleton bones, the flesh is the turf. I'm below, you the one above, second and third. Atheist, agnostic, intelligent search. 12 years of college professional specialist learn, but your knowledge and degree is a level unheard. We admire engineers, architectural nerds, but they can never build heavens and earth. I read about docs praise for their medicine works. You put the same nutrition in the fruits and the vegetables first. We honor veterans and let them pin medals on shirts. Genocide in your name, they oppression is worse. Everybody shell shock from the weapons that burst. Where the real terrorists lurk, color red is alert. Brothers dead in the hearse, mother's head is berserk. She says she asked you for protection and you let them get hurt. But the ones you love the most get tested the worst. That's why some people worship your prophet. The message is blurred. I got a whole lot of questions, plus the devil at work. Should I vote for the donkey or the elephant jerk? Should she cash a paycheck or tote a tech in her purse? We go to work. You help us to earn. Some of it used to fund wars. We protest with our words. Blessing the curse, the verse, a lesson to learn. Let it be heard. That kind of thing. The GOAT. Um, I don't necessarily have to spit rhymes from like every song, but there are a couple that I did want to point out. The GOAT, Destiny, Wildebeest, definitely. Pigs, I spit that. Beef, rabbit food. Man, I spit a lot of verses. Um, Laborhood is the first track on the album, and it's another one of those technical verses where I just take like a multi-syllable pattern and I just keep doing it. I say, and it's kind of like the story of labor for me, right? Back up. One below was doing art for the love. Stick up. Plead bargains with judge. Don't sleep, wake up. Smell the start to the bucks. Wise up. Now it's all profit, property, market and such. Pay up. Skill sharper than a dart in my clutch. I aim high for the bullseye. Targets the struck. Adrenaline starting to rush like a car with a drunk. See my door opportunity was starting to shut. I forced my way in like Jedi's with Jabba the Hutt. Hut, 20 yards, Steve Largent and cut. Had to leave alone Phillies, no more sparking the blunts. And on my game like Barkley with Sun, stars and above. I'm a thoroughbred, MCs be talking to us. You ain't saying much, you barking with pups. I be saying what the part of my cuss. I leave better lines in his than barbers who cut. Eyes and ooh, sort of like when lava erupts. From the crowd, permanent smile, I'm carving a pumpkin, something out of nothing, pockets with none. Now I know about the prophet, ark and the flood. Brothers, other rappers make it rain like other rappers make it rain for the strippers showing parts in the club. Low rain to make you bob it and tuck. And a photo shoot, all of a mug. Acting like they been to the club, they barely even hard to the crust. Put you on the edge of the streets, they pick you up like the garbage in trucks. I keep them sitting on the edge of these seats like Rosa Parks in a bus. See me in the hood, sparking the plug, animated like Curious George Parliament flunk, jumping out of the trunk. While you watching cartoons Saturday afternoon out of your bunk. Two different levels, bass in the treble. Shout out to Dave and Charmaine that's on the intro. They kind of like did this little like skit, you know what I'm saying, to introduce the Labor album. Um, Let me see. I shouted out the producers. I shouted out DJ abilities. Uh, I shouted out DJ Lahedi, Blue Raspberry, Maimuna Yusuf, Jessica Caramore, Omari, uh, Miss Tony Hill, KD, Naeem, Antero Ali. Yeah, Doggy Style Biscuits. I try to talk about love or relationships at least once on every album. You know what I mean? And I call this joint Doggy Style Biscuits. Yeah, it's just it's just a play on words, Doggy Style Biscuits. I say, whether you amateur, immature, either or, they take the tether off his leg, you step in the door, record store. She say she met him for a metaphor. After the show, second floor, she want a bone, a dinosaur. You think I'm lying, I could let it roar. Now what you think she had the dresser drawer? What she getting naked for? She put his weapon on it. She surrendered with no protection on her. Body is a temple, he said, thank the Lord. Call it religious or secular. They blessed beyond the regular. Sweeter than honeymoons, let them resort. Rest assured, like lovebirds of a feather together, flocking forevermore. Exaggeration, read between the rapper lines, batter the eyes. Now it's hammer time to strategize. Rick James was the record on. He the king, she the queen, with or without a checkerboard. Stocky style biscuits. Gamecock Diesel. Whether you trying to see G's or you trying to see Jesus, my people on lockdown trying to see freedom. I don't know a lot, but I know what the key is. Some get it from the streets, some get it from a teacher. Study all week, then party on the weekend. I work all day, catch me playing in the evenings, trying to get some dough. I need a little cheese, but to top it all off, I ain't trying to make a pizza. Fans show love for the beats and the speeches. Groupies want love, but I think they wanna niggas wanna hate, but I think they wanna beat us. Loca give a damn, you would think he was a beaver. You rappers with the contract, see ya. Looks can be deceiving, you cooking but you ain't eating. Wildlife with the cheetahs and the zebras. I keep them in the air, passports full of visas. With Africans, Asians, Arabs, and Europeans. Back to the States, fly in the bald eagle. Everybody knows, so it really ain't a secret. When I first heard the beat, told D that's a keeper. Might as well join, cause you sure can't beat us. You rappers can't test like substitute teachers. Get paid to rock shows, couple more to do a feature. Whoever gets salty must walk and chew peanuts. Cause when the beat drop, guess who turned into a creature? Even back then, I was coming to the meetings. Ever since young and doing reefer, a Pontiac Prince, now the king live in Egypt. On that note, I'm gonna be out. There's a whole lot more verses that I could spit, but go check it out, y'all. The Labor album, One Below Labor, language arts based on reality. Much love, peace.